Kyle's up in Canada at a conference. So he and I have been doing this radio show 5 years now. So thanks for tuning in. And where we talk real estate, we also bring in a lot of local talent here in San Diego. And with me today is one of the stud agents at Whissel Realty, Jeremy. How you doing today, Jeremy?
I'm doing awesome.
And you've been on the team now how long? I know I asked you this a couple weeks ago. I had you on the show.
Yeah, like 2 years.
2 years. And where did the 2 years go, right? I would have guessed a year. Even we just talked about this 2 weeks ago. 2 years. Boy, that goes fast.
It's going to be a year forever.
All right. And then a little bit about your background before we introduce your guest.
Yeah.
Is tell me you were a high school wrestler, yes?
That's correct.
All right. And even after high school, you've had a passion for wrestling, fighting, training, all this, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Started out with high school wrestling. Started doing grappling my senior year after wrestling.
Now, what's grappling for most of us that don't know?
Yeah. So grappling is there's no pins. It's submissions only.
Oh.
Yeah. So you got points and stuff, but in wrestling, you're looking to pin them. Grappling, your submission grappling, you're looking to tap them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started doing grappling.
Started doing grappling. Used my wrestling base to jump into that. Started competing in grappling a lot when I was like 17. Fun story. Like my first grappling was my first grappling tournament. I did like Teen Pan Ams on the day of my prom. Went up to Long Beach, competed, came back.
I bet your prom date was real happy.
Right?
Is that your wife now or no?
No.
So no surprise there, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Didn't quite work out.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I made it back in time for prom, though. I made it back. Went up to Long Beach, competed, came back down, went to prom. And then from there, went from grappling to MMA. And I was actually supposed to go up north to go to college, and I stayed in San Diego so I could fight.
Right.
So I actually dropped out of college to fight.
And MMA stands for?
Mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts.
At that time, it was called NHB. So only like the really old, see, even Luke, he's a young one.
Yeah.
But only the old guys that have been around for a while know that one. That's no holds barred. That's what it used to be called.
All right, so hit the button there. You're controlling the soundboard since I'm on the main seat, filling in for Kyle. So number 14, hit that for me.
There we go.
Go ahead, introduce your guest there, Jeremy.
So today we have Luke Faultersack.
Woo!
So pro MMA fighter out of Michigan, but now he's training here with the best team in the world, Alliance MMA, here in San Diego.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So welcome, Luke.
Thank you.
Coming off a big win, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's always nice to get a win and, enjoy the next few months with a win under the belt. You know?
All right. So how long you been in San Diego?
I got here at the end of 2014. It's
almost 5 years coming up.
Almost 5 years. And, just been going down with my head down ever since, and just working hard out here. There's a great gym in East County called Alliance Training Center East that I work at, that I got a great opportunity to coach kids, and there's a great kids program there, and teens, adults, and we do a little bit of it all there.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm a person of faith, and I just believe sometimes God puts people on your path for a reason, and it's so funny that you're in here today, right? You guys are MMA guys. I know Jeremy was into wrestling. I didn't know how involved you were in MMA and all the stuff, but I have a niece who's only 14, but she's, pretty large. My little brother is literally like 6'3", 400 pounds. So he's, I go, when's the last time you were under 240? He goes, when I was about 12, Jason. So he's always been a big guy. Now his daughter's not huge, but she is, strong. She's got a younger brother, older brother, so she's always wrestled and fight. And at the wedding, my daughter got married this past weekend. That's the reason me and Kyle were on the show, because Kyle was actually there with me. And my 14-year-old niece is like, Uncle Jason, I really want to get into like MMA, UFC. Like, what do I need to do? And I'm like, you know what? I know a few people. Let me find out. And then here's Luke sitting in front of me right now saying, hey, that you love helping youth.
Yeah. So, Jeremy here, he's ran the program at Alliance East in Santee since it started. And since he's kind of backed away a little bit more from it, I've stepped up, and he showed me the ropes, and he kind of showed me how it works there. And with my coaching background a little bit beforehand, it just fell perfect as soon as I,
So what
trained.
ages are you kind of assisting and helping, just to give listeners an idea of, what you do and what opportunities are out there for, the youth?
Yeah, so around 5, 6 years old, we like to start them. Any time before that, there's no really reason to.
Right.
And just running around. 5, 6 years old till 12, we have the kids program at Alliance East, and then we do the teens, which is 13 to around 17, 18. We got the teen program, and then adults.
Okay.
So everything.
Nice.
6 and up, basically. Anywhere from 6 until you die, you can train here.
Exactly.
Right. So what's the
yes.
oldest one you guys seen in there? Because I know one of my father-in-law's best friends died a few years ago, but he was boxing in his 75, 80 years old. He still was in boxing matches and doing different stuff right here in San Diego. So I know the fights out there, I guess you're never too old, but with you guys, what's about the oldest person you see in their training? What's your guess?
We've had
We got people in their 70s.
Yep,
Okay.
we have people. It's all ages, all ranges too. You have the soccer mom that just wants to release a little stress and hit the bag. You have the young teenager that's maybe a little aggressive and wants to hit the bag so he doesn't get in trouble. So you get a whole range of people, which is cool.
That is nice.
We got some ladies over 60 that'll put some of the guys that are in their 20s to shame too.
Wow.
Yeah, you gotta kind of look and say, hey, you better push it a little harder. You got some of these moms kicking your butt.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's good to have that accountability and have that person pushing you right at every level. And it's good to have a coach. It's good to have you in here, Luke, and you and Jeremy have known each other for a while. Now, exactly where's Alliance East located? Give us a really good idea. So if I'm listening right now, I know it's somewhere in East County. Where exactly, Jeremy?
So it's in Santee, right on the border of Santee and Lakeside. It's right next to, if you know where it's right off the 67. If you know where BNS Brewing or where the Santee Drive-In is.
Sure. I think most people know where the Santee Drive-In.
That's probably the best landmark. We're right next to there.
Okay, so right next to the Santee Drive-In. It's one of the few drive-ins left in Southern California.
Yeah.
There's only a couple left, and Santee's been there my entire life. I'm born and raised here nearly 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
That place has been there ever since I can remember.
Yep.
It's one of the last few ones standing, and it is a good landmark because if you've ever been on the 67, you can't miss it.
No.
Right? Because as you're heading out towards Lakeside, you just look left, or if you're coming back down from Lakeside, it's right there on the right.
Yep.
And it's been that landmark forever. It's the one consistent thing. And people don't realize the San Diego River runs right behind it.
Yep.
And people are like, we got a river? I'm like, well, wait till it rains, you'll see.
Yeah.
And
In
at the
Mission
break,
Valley.
I'll show you guys some pictures in the early 1900s, how wide the San Diego River was during a flood, how it knocked things out. But as you drive down Mission Valley, I tell people when I show them this picture, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the river was that wide and was running that much water. I go, well, how do you think the valley created?
Yeah.
Look at that hillside and look at that hillside. There had to be a lot of water coming through to make Mission Valley the way it is now. And I even have a picture a few months ago when it was raining, how the puddles pile up and look, because again, it's a riverbed. And people just don't realize that, especially people that have only been here 3 or 4 years. But when it rains, that river starts to roar. It's more of a creek during the year, but when the rain, it really starts to make it a river.
I've seen cars underwater in Mission Valley.
Oh,
Pasture
absolutely.
Valley,
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we had some, I think it was like 78 was one of the worst rainstorms I remember as a kid. And everything washed out.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was crazy. Yeah. I wasn't even born yet. Jeremy's over there. I remember that. Jeremy wasn't even born. I know he likes being funny. Again, you're listening to 1170 AM The Answer. This is the Whissel Weekend Show. Jason Hall, the co-host, my good friend Kyle Whissel, up in Canada at a conference, but filling in for him is myself and one of the top agents in his team, Jeremy. Jeremy, you live out in Santee, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So you also train out there, right? We're talking about Alliance. We've got Luke in here. What have you guys done the last few days? What's been going on this week for you guys?
Well, training hard and coaching people. That's pretty much the lifestyle that I'm living right now. Jeremy also is doing the same thing, and he's a super busy person. So in the morning, we like to, get our own training in, our own workout.
Your own personal training. Gotcha.
Exactly. Yep. Learn, and then in the afternoon we teach.
Teach. Well, we're going to hit that in that upcoming segment here. But as we wrap up this first segment, we always kind of like to know what's current events. So I'm going to share with you guys. My baby girl, 28 years old, finally got married this past weekend. And boy, what an emotional day that is for a father. Thanks, Todd. And, I'm not that emotional of a guy typically. My wife's upset that I'm not more emotional, but I was really emotional on that day. Seeing her all dressed up at the end of the aisle. She got married out in Flynn Springs Park under a big, huge oak trees. And they wanted me to keep her away. They didn't want me to see her until I'm walking her down the aisle. I'm choking up, tears running down my face. giving away my baby girl to Paul Kemp. So now Melanie Hall is now Melanie Kemp. She actually sent me a picture this morning. They're already in Venice. They flew into Venice.
Nice.
And they're going to spend the next 16 days in Italy and Greece, traveling a couple days, everywhere. A couple days in Florence, a couple days in Rome, 3 days or so in Venice. They go over to a couple of the islands. Santorini is one of the islands. There's another one, I'm not sure. But I also did a toast. And I guess Kyle posted, is Jason's speech going to be over or under 5 minutes? You saw that. I still haven't seen it, but people were sharing with me. I didn't even know he did that. And I guess I came in at 2:58.
Yeah.
So he was real surprised. Everything I would go over 5 minutes came under. But, the father-daughter dance, very emotional. So for those of you out there that you probably been through this, you understand. And if you have a young girl, it seems like yesterday my girl was 4 years old, and I coached her in all the sports, soccer, softball, basketball. I mean, we did everything. And she was an extremely talented, player in high school. Her best sports were soccer and softball. That's what she played college in. That's where she met her husband, Paul, playing softball. They still fly and travel all over the United States like you guys do in fighting. They love to do in softball and OTL. I mean, like Jared Norse, who's one of the agents on your team, Jeremy, he's like, do you know how good your daughter is at OTL over the line? I go, well, I heard she's pretty good. He goes, she just randomly got two people together. They went three of them into the open division. This was like a year and a half ago. And they literally took like third or fourth place. And they'd never played together in the open division women's here in San Diego on back tournament. Yep. So he's like, Jason, she's super, super good. So it's kind of nice to hear from somebody else on that. Again, you're listening to AM 1170, The Answer. This is Whissel Weekend. We'll be right back.